are the brand ambassadors of this Ramayana product. So the guide lecturers in Sri Lanka should know about the Ramayana story, Ramayana epic, which was written by Valmiki. The guide lecturers are the brand. They should be a brand ambassador. They are the first point of contact for the tourists who are coming from India. Ramayana mainly are group travel, not small groups. Most of the Ramayana groups are around 50 to 250 groups are handled by these people. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
So the guide lecturers have to know about the Ramayana. I think it was a gap at this moment, but I think Bala will fulfill this gap with this training program. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bala, for giving this opportunity to our industry.
Thank you, Jeevana. Yes, thanks a lot. And that is a short note from Jeevana, your Assistant Director, Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau. And today, let us start our session. I'm starting the session. And admin, please confirm that you're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. I want to everybody. Today we're going to start off, and just before we start, I want to tell you a couple of things. That is, we all know that Sita was being abducted from the forest. So Ravana abducted Sita from the forest. But do we all know why Rama and Sita were in the forest? They are supposed to be in the palace. They are all princes, kings, and queens. So why are they in the forest, first of all? And why did they in the forest, first point? And under whose empire is this forest actually? So these are the points we need to know. So for us to know that going forward, first we need to know why did Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana end up in the forest. So that is what we are going to cover today. And tomorrow you'll get the introduction of Ravana. End of this presentation, I will give you some lighter version of how Ravana is also used as the great marketing tool in the Indian consumer products, consumer TV products. So a lot of people use Ravana in the commercial TV advertisements as well. So we'll be seeing that as well. So let me start off. And before I start, I'll ask you some questions also. Welcome to Ramayana Yatra training program. And as you all know, this is Bala, the author of My Name is Ravana, the Sri Lanka's version of Ramayana. And this is in association with Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, So Sri Lanka. So we're getting into day 2. So when we're getting into day 2, we need to understand certain things. We need to remember what happened in the yesterday's session. So I'll keep asking some questions in a very brief way. Randomly, I'll be asking some questions. So let me start off with anybody. Yesterday we had the class intro. We had the guidelines of the classroom. And we had the purpose of the training. So I want any one of you to tell me what is the purpose of the entire training. Anybody. Admin, please check if anybody raises the hand and please allow them to talk on this particular topic. Allow anyone.
Hello, sir. One is waiting.
Yeah, please. Allow them, please.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Allow them, please.
Allowed, sir.
Yeah. Sir, can you tell me what is the whole purpose of this train?
No, he is muted again, sir.
Okay. So the whole purpose of the training is for us to understand, to accept the tourists from across the world and tell them the actual facts. Along with telling the actual facts, give them the confidence that we also know Ramayanam equally or even better than the outside tourist. So when a person is coming for a medical treatment to a doctor, the doctor should know much better than the patient. So when a tourist is coming to Sri Lanka to know about Ramayanam, the guide or the travel industry in Sri Lanka should know far better Ramayanam than the average tourist itself. So if we don't have confidence, then it is very difficult to drive the tourism industry. So that is the whole purpose. And let me see, 1 minute. And next is classification of Ramayana tourist and Ramayana tourism is also been said. So Ramayana tourist does not want to explore new things. He wants to experience what he has already knew. This is one topic what we have discussed yesterday. And then we have, that is the differences what we have found. And Ramayana classification we found, Ramayana is considered to be cultural tourism, heritage tourism, historical tourism, religious tourism, educational tourism, etc. So Ramayana has lot things, lot categories are there. And then we have got into the introduction of Ramayanam. And then we have got dived into Ramayana. We have a quick through of Balakanda, and I've seen your test results. Amazing. Most of you have done the good job. So around 135 results have come, and that will be shared to you shortly, maybe by end of today or so. And results are very good. So we have seen a teaser. There was some audio issue, and I've shared it to you over your WhatsApp, and hope you all have watched the teaser. And then we had some Q&A. A lot of you guys have asked some Q&A. I tried answering. Hope I have answered you all. And in those, one have asked, can we have? Is anybody did the dating of Ramayana? Is there any scientific evidences of dating of Ramayana? This was also asked. So I told that I'll be speaking to someone after the session. I did speak yesterday night, and they have agreed to join in one of the sessions. Hopefully tomorrow, one person will be joining to tell about the scientific evidences of Ramayana in terms of dating. So positively, they'll be coming tomorrow. He is to join from USA. So he will start off tomorrow's session as usual, but he may join at the end of the session because it will be too early for US citizens. And we got your feedbacks also yesterday. This is what we have done yesterday. And what we'll be doing today, what we'll be covering today is, we'll be basically covering Ayodhya Kanda. Ayodhya Kanda is one what we'll be doing on the whole of today. It's a little bigger chapter, and that's the reason only one chapter we are covering today. This will give you an idea why Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita ended up in the forest from where Ravana has abducted Sita. And why he has abducted, you will be knowing it on day 3 and day 4. So at the end of the day, we will be seeing some ad commercials, what I told you, where Indian audience used Ramayanam and Ravana especially as a tool of marketing. That shows how much acceptability of Ravana is also there in the country India. So you always assume that Indians doesn't like Ravana. It's not like that. So but when you observe these commercial ads, you will understand. So some Ravana ads will be shown today, and again the teaser, and then the Q&A sessions, the feedback session will continue as it is. Let's start Ayodhya Kanda. Ayodhya Kanda is basically happening completely in Ayodhya itself. So Rama and Sita got married, they have come back. Rama got married to Sita, Lakshmana got married to Urmila, Bharata got married to Mandavi, Shatrughna got married to Shrutakirti. This part we have seen. So Mandavi and Shrutakirti are the cousins of Sita. That is, they are the daughters of Janaka's brother. Janaka's brother is Kushadvipa is the name, and his daughters are Mandavi and Shrutakirti. So Now we are in the episode where Dasharatha has become old. Now he's thinking that I have spent a lot of years ruling the kingdom. Now I'm becoming old and I feel that I have to give the ruling part to my next successor. And I feel that Rama is the right choice to give my succession of the kingdom. That what he felt, and immediately he felt he wanted to implement it off immediately without any delay. So he himself declares, let's see what happens. At this point in time, when this thought has come to Dasharatha's mind, Bharata and Shatrughna were in his uncle's place, in his father-in-law's place. That is, in their wife's native place. Along with their wives, they have gone to their uncle's place. That is to Janakpura. So they are with Kushadvipa. So Bharata and Shatrughna are not in Ayodhya at this point in time. Rama is there, Lakshmana is there, Rumala is there, Sita is there, the rest of them are all there. So let us see what happens. So he feels that Rama is the right person. So he feels that Rama has all the qualities what are required. So he knows how, he is the master of archery, he knows how to handle army, he knows how to direct people, he knows how to respect and remember the help given by, even the smallest help given by any other part of the world, and he doesn't hold grudges, anything in his mind. So, and he knows how to make laws in the society, how to generate revenues to the society. And he not only knows how to generate revenues, he knows how to use the revenues as well. So he thought that Rama is the best person. Then he called his closed circuit, and then it discussed, this is what I have in my mind. I am proposing Rama. That doesn't mean that Rama only has to be there. He called his fellow kings, the neighboring kingdoms, everybody. So he says, see, this is what I'm feeling in my mind. So I want you also to suggest whether my decision is correct or not. And if there is anything better than this, please do suggest. That's where he calls for a meeting. So he gives all the meetings, and then everybody wholeheartedly, they go back, discuss, and they wholeheartedly tells that they are all happy with the decision of Dasharatha, and then they want Rama to be the next king. Dasharatha then sends the close follower, minister, and advisor Sumantra to go and call Rama to the court. So when the decision of making Rama as the king, Rama was not there in the midst of these people. He doesn't know what is happening. So then Dasharatha sends Sumantra to bring Rama. Sumantra goes, he brings Rama, and when Rama comes, Dasharatha tells what was there in his mind, and Rama accepts it. And then Dasharatha tells Rama the next following day is Pushya Nakshatram, and it is the Chaitra Masam. The climate is very beautiful, and I want this Muhurtam, or this date to be, that is tomorrow, the date to be finalized for crowning you as the king. So he just took the decision, and the next day himself he wanted to announce it. So he took the decision so fast. Okay. Here in my presentation, I have particularly mentioned the Masam and the stars of what Dasharatha or Valmiki was mentioning it. The reason I'm mentioning this is because there is a link to this for tomorrow's discussion. So in a general way, what is the month, what is the time is not much important for us, but there is a small link for tomorrow's presentation. That's why I've included this slide. It is Chaitra Masam and Pushya Nakshatram. At that time, you want to crown Rama. And then, as he thought, the message went circulated so fast into the society. The people are all happy. The message has gone, creeped into the society. People are all happy. And then Rama comes to Kausalya, his mother, and says what happened in the court of Dasharatha. Kausalya blesses his son with a lot of love. He takes the blessings, and then Vasishtha comes to the place where Rama and Sita used to be. So they come, and Vasishtha tells the ceremony, how is it going to happen, what is the king's ceremony is going to be, what are the things they have to do, how they have to behave. So, and he suggests, you guys need to sleep like a common man tonight. And he explains the things what Rama and Sita together has to do on the day before. So Sita and Rama are getting prepared with the virtues or with the rituals, what they have to conduct before going for the next day. So the whole city, when Vasishtha is going back, he sees the whole city is with a lot of puppets, drums, people are enjoying. The next king is going to come. Beautifully, they are enjoying it. It's more like a celebration for the entire city. It is all dances, music everywhere in the city, everywhere. It has been garland, flowers, etc. Because the next king in the Ishwaku dynasty is coming. That is Ram. The next person in the entire dynasty is going to come. Some of the most popular names in this dynasty is Sagara, whom we taught yesterday, Bhagirath, whom we taught yesterday, Raghu is one of them, and Dasarath is all there, and Rama is going to be the 34th king, and they are very happy that the next successor is going to come. And what is so famous about this particular king, this dynasty, why people are so fascinated about this dynasty is they have built a custom that the word, if you utter a word and if the word is given, which is more than a written document. If the word is given, the word cannot be taken back. So all this is happening, but there is a twist to the entire story. There is one lady called Manthara who didn't like Rama being as the king. And who is this Manthara? The old lady, she's the only person who is not happy with Rama being the king. Manthara is the maid of Kaikeyi. She has a close connect with Kaikeyi, not just because she's the maid to her, because she's the maid not only to Kaikeyi in Dasratha's place, she came from Kaikeyi's father. So they have the relation right from the childhood. So Kaikeyi is one among those who rose, Mandara is one among those who rose Kaikeyi up. So Mandara is so known, and she was there even before marriage of Kaikeyi, and then after marriage, Mandara came to Dasharatha's place to assist Kaikeyi continuously. So Mandara says, "Oh Kaikeyi, you know what is happening in the city. So Rama is getting crowned as the king." Kaikeyi is happy for that. Then Mandara continues to say that, "Kaikeyi, you are a fool, you are not understanding if Rama is becoming the king." Mandara, in her mind, she always has this to break the family. Mandara wants Bharata to be the king. Just a 1 minute. I think there is some. I'll remove that marks. Yes. Yeah. So something she continuously insisted. Kaikeyi, she started telling, "No, Bharata has to be, not your son has to be the king, not Kaushalya's son. Your son has to be." There is hardly a difference between your son's birth and Rama's birth. Both are born almost the same time, only a few couple of hours of difference, and both are equally talented. So why not your son? And she started saying, if you are the second wife of Dasratha, and Kaushalya was the first wife, so at least for that, your son has to become the king. And she started saying, see, when Rama becomes the king, Bharata will be sent off from the palace. Bharata will be treated in a low way. She started cooking up all the stories, trying to spoil Kaikeyi's mind. Kaikeyi is confused. And she adds to that, see, it is all Rama's play, it is all Rama's play, and it is all Dasratha's play. They want to do it in the absence of Bharata. If they really wanted, they might have waited for Bharata to come back and then discuss and take the decision. When Bharata is away, they are doing this. So which means they have some cruel intention within themselves. You need to identify Kaikeyi. She started twisting the story and trying to spoil Kaikeyi's mind. Kaikeyi is totally washed off, and now the scene completely changes. Kaikeyi is completely washed off, and Kaikeyi asks, "Tell me, Mandara, what should I do now?" Then Mandara continues to say, you remember that Dasratha has given you a promise, a boon, and asked you to ask for 2 wishes that he will fulfill it, for which you said this happened during the battle of Dasratha. In one of the battle of Dasratha, you helped Dasratha in winning the battle. You helped Dasratha in not he losing his life in the battle. So at that time, he gave you the boon and asked you ask any 2 wishes of yours and I will fulfill. That was the promise what Dasratha has given you. You didn't ask. You were very humble at that time to Dasratha and told, when if it is required, I'll ask. I have nothing enough to ask. That was what you have told to Dasratha. So you still have that in those wishes are still valid. Now you have to use that, says Mandara. And then what she says now, because the words are given by Dasratha, he cannot take it back. Then the first wish, what you need to ask Dasratha is that Bharata has to be the king and not Rama. The second wish, what you need to ask is that Rama has to go in exile into the forest for 14 years, and that too not as a king or a princess, but as a common man or a tapasi or a small space, or as a common man he needs to go. So he cannot go even as a king, he has to go as a common man. So for that, the act is prepared, and Kaikeyi goes into the Kroshagara. At that time, in those days, there is something called Kroshagara, which means a place where a room in the queen's palace where she can go to exhibit that, to make the king know that she is unhappy with something with the king. So she goes to that room that is called Krodhgara or Krodh Bhavan. She goes there, and Dasratha's most loving wife among the 3 is Kaikeyi itself. Dasratha comes, he finds Kaikeyi lying down with all the jewels left all over hither and thither. Dasratha comes and asks, what happened? Why is it? Kaikeyi doesn't speak. He requests, what happened? You are not like this. Come on, let me know. Whatever you say, I will do it. Something, tell me. He again commits. So that Kaikeyi will take an advantage. Says, I will not ask anything new now, but I want you to fulfill the 2 wishes what you have already given me before. And the first one, and he reminds particularly, this was the wish you have given me when I saved your life in the battle. And then she starts asking the wishes what he wants. She asks, tomorrow in front of everybody, you should not announce Rama as the king or your successor. You should announce Bharata as your successor. And she also says that Rama has to go into exile, and that has to be not as a king, as a common man. Dasratha once for all collapse. He once for all collapsed. He didn't understand what is happening. Why can even Kaikeyi even think in this way? He tries convincing Kaikeyi. He tried convincing. He says, this is not the right way. People will misunderstand. Kaikeyi is not moved. He said, by doing this, the family will break. Kaikeyi is still not moved. Mandara has so much influenced Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi is not changing her mind at all. She insisted that he wants those 2 boons to be implemented right now. Dasratha got angry. He shouted at her, but still the lady is not moved. She still insisted. Dasratha fell on knees, requesting her, please not to do this. She is still not moved. He fell on Kaikeyi's feet, but still Kaikeyi is not moved. She wanted Rama to go into the forest, exile. She wanted Dasratha to be his next king. And she points out, you have given the promise, you cannot go back. Dasratha was shocked. The night has come. He's just collapsed there. He's not able to understand what to do. The next day, day broke. He's still there. He is not understanding what to do. He had already announced in the public, and now he needs to keep up his word with his wife. This is what's happening. And what is happening at that place? Vasishtha is already getting all the things arranged for Rama's crowning. While Vasishtha is coming, he can see all the fountains in the city are up. the flowers, gardens, everything is up. People are with great joy. All the arrangements are done. And then Vasishtha asks Sumantra, go check with Dasharatha and see that and tell that all the things are happening, and ask him, just take the concern of Dasharatha and ask him to come to the court. Sumantra comes to Dasharatha and says that everything is going on and it's beautifully getting arranged. Everything is in a short while, everything is getting so well organized. This is not like there is no time. Everybody, public are supporting. He says the greatness of how everybody are contributing for the coronation, and then asks Dasharatha to come down. Dasharatha says, stop killing me with those words, because Sumantra doesn't know what is happening. He says, stop killing with those words. Please call Rama here immediately. Sumantra doesn't understand, and he goes. When he's going back, he just came in and he just went out. By that time itself, there's a lot of change in the landscape of the city. A lot of new things have come, flowers, decorations, new decorations have come. So fast the things are changing for the coronation of Rama. And then, when Sumantra has come, Rama and Sita are getting prepared for the coronation. They're dressing up with the next royal suit. Sita is getting ready, Rama is getting ready. They're all checking whether their clothing, everything is proper or not. Everything is getting ready. Then the Sumantra comes and says, Dasharatha, king asks you to come and meet him once at this point in time. So Rama takes leave from Sita and goes to meet Dasharatha. When he is walking, he looked like a lion for the society. Though he is going to meet his own father like any day, when he went out, people are just making more and more music. They started following him when he's going in the people have started following him. So not only they, even the army followed, because army is already set for. When the new prince is coming, the army also followed him. So that is the level of respect and march they have done. But the society, the public doesn't know what happened overnight. Even Sumatra doesn't know what happened overnight. Everybody are enjoying. They are expecting the coronation is going to happen. But only the grief, what happened last night, only Dasharatha knows, only Kaikeyi knows. No one else knows. Even Rama doesn't know. No one else knows. They are showering flowers on Rama. And finally, he reaches the court of Dasharatha. When he reached the court of Dasharatha, he goes in. He finds Kaikeyi and Dasharatha on the chair. He takes the blessings of Dasharatha, and immediately Dasharatha, he can sense the redness in eye, the tears, the sadness in Dasharatha when he's picking up Rama. He immediately asked Kaikeyi, what happened to Dasharatha? What happened to the king? Why is he so sad? I never saw my father like this. Is there anything wrong with Bharata there? Is there anything wrong with Shatrughna there? Or is there anything happened here? Is he not feeling well? Or is there anything wrong from my side? Without my knowledge, anything happened? What happened, Mother Kaikeyi? Please let me know. And Kaikeyi says, I want you not to change your words. I will tell your father is unable to say something, what he wanted to say now. But if you promise that you will not go back on your father's words, only then I will say, says Kaikeyi. Rama was surprised. Rama in written says, why will I go back on the words of an Ishwaku king, and that to Dasharatha, my father? Please tell what happened. And then Kaikeyi explains the narration, what happened, and says that the reasons, the boon what Dasharatha has given to Kaikeyi, and for the reason that she wanted Bharata to be the next king, and Rama to exile into the forest like a common man. So everybody, Dasharatha was shocked. He was expecting Rama to react some way. But Rama is not like Dasharatha. Dasharatha collapsed, but Rama took it in a very simple way. Rama said, it's okay, if that is what father's wish is. He called me and he offered me the kingdom. I accepted it as a duty. And now if it is the word what my father gave it to you, I will accept that also as a duty. He didn't move. He didn't move. His senses have not moved. He's just when the good happened to him, he's just like that. When the bad happening to him is just like that. He didn't move. And this is in this way, see, this is what I'm telling from the Valmiki Ramayana. Tulsidas has narrated or used a particular word in a very nice way to describe the word, the importance of word, what Valmiki explained. Tulsidas has made it in a very simpler way and told a phrase called prana jai par vachana na jai. Prana jai par vachana na jai means let the life go but not the word. That means let the life go but not the word. That's what it means. And in the sequence of the Ishwaku dynasty, the king who's supposed to be in the same dynasty cannot lose on the word. Rama accepts it and says, Father, if it is your word, if it is the word of Ishwaku king, then it cannot go back. So and I have nothing to lose. Whether you give the kingdom, whether you give the exile, anything is same for me, he says. And he takes permission from Dasratha and again starts going up. And then Ram says to Kaikeyi, why don't you send a message to Bharata's uncle immediately and ask them to come faster? So let us send the message. To which Kaikeyi responds very sarcastically, I think you are very interested in going to the forest now, which means she in other ways says, that is my job, now it's your job to go to the forest. In a very sarcastic way, she says. Then Ram understands that staying for a long time is not good, and it is going only to be, things are going to be more worse and dialogues are going to be more worse. So then Ram says, fine, then I'm leaving today and right now itself. Dasratha got angry, but he's helpless. He just is like a helpless king, and he falls down. Ram goes, says not to worry, takes the blessings once again, and he keeps moving out. As he's moving out, now he already declared himself that he need to go out, and as one of the things, he's not a king or not a princess. So he refused to use the chariot. He went back to his place, walking down all the way. As he's walking down all the way, people understood there's something wrong happening. So Ram is never changed. When he's into the court in the chariot or when he's going out of the court by barefoot, he's still not moved. That is the quality of a king should be. So he has come to his place. He goes to his mother, Kausalya. And he takes the blessings. Kausalya invites Ram, gives him a kiss, and offers him to eat food, like any other mother does. Come, eat the food. Ram says, no, this is not. And then he explains what happened. And then Kausalya too collapses. Kausalya too collapses. Ram tries to convince her. There is a huge amount of cry, grief happening there. Ram is trying to, and Kausalya says, take me along with you. I also don't want to live without you in this palace. But Ram says, she tries to convince her. And then Lakshmana comes. Lakshmana grew with anger. Lakshmana is unable, he grew with huge amount of anger. It takes huge amount of time for Ram to convince Lakshmana. He started shouting, how can this be done? This is pure injustice. What mistake you have done when it is not your mistake? Why should you be exiled? If you have done a mistake, I will support for your exile. When there is no mistake on your side, why should you be exiled, brother? He starts shouting. He starts pointing at Dasratha's inability to control Kaikeyi and Kaikeyi's stuff. And he says, give me a chance, brother. I will show what it is. He tries to convince it is not, you are not going to the forest and you are going to take the things. He says, give me a command. Say one yes, my brother Ram. I will show what my power is. I will show what my power is. I will teach a lesson to everybody. That's what he says. He is furious and anger. With great anger he is, and Ram tries to convince further. And Kausalya here says, Ram, you have heard what your brother has said, and now you decide what to do. Which means Kausalya too gave her consent. If you want to take the revenge for the decisions made in the court, in your absence for no reasons of your fault, you can proceed. Which means indirectly, Kausalya also gave the consent. You have heard to what your brother has said, and you take the call now. And Ram tries to explain the situation back again to Kausalya and Lakshmana. Mom and brother, try to understand what is my thought process is in here. So what I am thinking here, please try to understand. He started convincing and said, see, my father Dasharatha never wanted to me go. Even he is upset. He is also in grief. He is helpless. And because it is the trap of Kaikeyi, which has been made him, the words, the promise what he has given to Kaikeyi made him get into the trap of Kaikeyi today. So it is not his personal interest. It is not his word, but is the word what is given already is now coming and written like this. So how can my father's word go wrong or wrong? He started convincing, but Lakshmana is not listening. Lakshmana is not listening at all. He is pointing out, if so required, let us put even our own father into the jail. So if he is not following the rules, if he is not following the dharma, if a person who is not following dharma, even if he is a sage, even if he is a guru, even if he is a king, has to be punished. And I see the case like that. That's what Lakshmana is so angry. Ram tries to convince again. Lakshmana is not listening, and Ram, and he has his own versions. He has his own versions, and what's wrong, why you have to go, and this is all. And he also says, let us send Kaikeyi into the forest. Or let us send Dasharatha into the forest. Why should you go? What is the mistake what you have done? He is anger, and then finally Ram tries to convince. So here they both disagree with each other, but still, then Ram says, what is done? In the dynasty, in our kingdom, Ishwaku family is having that amount of respect of the word, and that is reflected in the society as well. If a person in the society, in the market, takes the goods and promises that he'll pay back in a month's time, there is no written agreements made. Just the word is followed and the goods are being delivered. So that is the way we maintained our society. And now if the king's word is not maintained, the entire society, entire kingdom will fall. So we cannot do that. He started convincing it. And he started saying, Lakshmana again, so it's not, we have to go with, let us punish Dasharatha and Kaikeyi. Lakshmana is not at all getting convinced. And again, it's not the mistake of Dasharatha, it is only the Kaikeyi. And all this was repeatedly. The Valmiki gives the whole of Sarga, the whole of Sargas in Ayodhya Kanda. It is the grief, the cry happening in the things there is all shown. And finally, Kausalya understands the point what Rama in the way what Rama is thinking all about. And then she hugs him, and then she felt sad, and she left some tears. Remember, Lakshmana is still not convinced. And then Ram has to face Sita. Now all this while happened with Kausalya. Now Ram has to face Sita. Ram is not able to understand how will Sita react. It is Ram's duty to go into the forest. It was never mentioned that Sita has to go into the forest. It was never mentioned that Lakshmana has to go into the forest. So now Ram has to leave Sita and go into the forest. Ram comes to Sita and then explains what all happened in the court. The minute Ram came in, Sita is able to sense that Ram is not feeling comfortable to say something to Sita. Ram is intended to say that he need to leave to the forest, leaving Sita for 14 years. She is able to sense that something wrong happened, and Ram is feeling difficult to say, and she insists. We already seen in Balakanda that their both love is so much that but only with their minds they can communicate. There's so much, the understanding levels are so much. Ram explains what happened, and the Bharata has to be the king and he needs to go into the forest like a common man, all this stuff. He explains to Sita. He tries, I have to go, we have to be for 14 years alone without me. Please understand, this is my duty. Then Sita in return says, if you have to go to the forest, there's nothing wrong. I have no worries about. Sita is very plain like Rama. I have no issues. If you're going to the forest, I have no issues. You see, Dasratha collapsed. Kausalya collapsed. Lakshmana is with grief and anger, but Sita is not like that. Sita is almost like Ram. And then Sita tells her version. Sita has a point here. Sita has a question, and Sita objects Ram for one thing. Sita doesn't object Ram for going into the forest. Sita doesn't object for Bharata getting as a crown, but Sita objects for one thing. That is, when your mom asked that she wanted to come with you, you gave a reason for her not to come with you, that he need to be with her husband. But here, when Kaikeyi asked you to do something, I am your second half. I am half of you, which means if Kaikeyi has said to you, which means she told to me as well. And on the account of marriage, I have not come only to have the luxury here in Ayodhya. My parents have taught me that whether it is good or bad, enjoyment or disenjoyment, whatsoever it is, I have to be in you. So I object in being away from you. I will be only with you. Even it is the forest, I'll be with you. That's what he says. Ram tries to say it is the forest, it is not that easy. It's a tough life, and you being the princess, you never been into the forest. From the time of your childhood, you're always like a grown up, pampered child in a very nice way. So Janaka has never a situation has come that you have to go live the hard life. Ram started explaining, I have been into the forest before during my training. It is not that easy to live in the forest. It's a tough terrain. The wild beasts and all this stuff, it's not that easy. So Ram tries to convince Sita, but Sita is not convinced. She is down in pores of tears. So then finally, Ram agrees to take Sita along. And then Lakshmana enters again. And he says, brother, you are not listening to me in the way I suggested. But at least agree to this. I will also come with you to the forest. In support of you and Sita, I will be in assistance to you. For me, being with you is important. Being in the city or being in the forest is nothing for me. For me, what is important is being with you, says Lakshmana. Ram tries to convince, but Lakshmana insists, this time I'm not going to be convinced anymore. I have to be with you. And Ram has no other choice, agrees to take Lakshmana. And see, Ram stood for Dharma. Sita understood that she also has to follow Ram. That is a part of Ram and Sita. But why should Lakshmana has to go to the forest? He sacrificed everything only to be in support of his brother and nothing else. He sacrificed his entire, he's also equally prince of young age. He is going into the forest. He sacrificed all that. And finally, he is going into the forest with Ram. So there, they both have differences in accepting the verdict or indirect verdict, what they have to follow. But still, when the decision is final with Ram, Lakshmana accepted, and Ram accepted Lakshmana's decision too. So which means they kept their personal interest, they have supported the others' feelings as well. Ram has handed over all the belongings, what he need to give it to the people, and he paid all his personal staff from his personal money for the rest 14 years.